Fellas, the Shadow Finale Part 1 is here. Don't mind me, I was doing a little bit of testing. Oh goodness. This is not the Shadow Finale Part 1, I was just doing a little bit of testing. Anyway, let me blow up this world, and we'll get started. They've added to the archives, there's new teleporting stuff, there's new tools, new thermal stuff, and a new trap, which is like, you could put hot coals on the floor to make stuff panic. But we'll get all into it, don't you worry. So we're gonna head straight into the caves. So, archives turned on. Now we're gonna exit the caves. So while on the ocean, you might have spotted, where is it? There it is, giant whirlpool. I'm going to teleport to it, but normally you have to take a boat to it, and then it drowns you, and it pulls you in. But by doing this, oh no, there I go, down we go. I had God mode in, so I didn't drown, so I just get dragged through it as if I was on a boat. And here we are, in the archives, just for ease, let me plug in a bunch of stuff. So when you get dragged down the wormhole, you get dumped here, which is, like you see, is the archives, because you got it revealed, but anyway. Then this, you can jump into it, but now you can attach a rope to it, so you can come back up. And if you jump into this, where do you go? You get dumped onto the sealed portal in the actual archives. So that's the newest thing. So you can climb back up the rope to go back. Anyway, we need to get our way into the newest room in the archives. So, into the sanctum actually. So you touch this right now. What we want to do is we want to keep going north. I had to learn how to navigate this this place. So basically, there's only one biome at a time, and it changes every time you go in. So you need to go to these teleport pot things and basically just look at the wiki. The wiki describes quite well of which one you want to look for. You see these little markers on these circles that indicates which direction this waymark is going to take you. Now the direction isn't relative to like the map because there's only ever one room at a time, but someone has mapped out on the wiki which direction where everything is. And the TLDR is, to get to the newest room, you want to constantly just go north. When you look at it, it's like a triangle like this. This is it, the right way up. The top of the triangle of these three circles is always pointing inwards, right? So this is the top one. So the top one will be two little marks directly across from each other, like west to east. And then in the bottom right, there'll be a 90-degree one. So this is north. So let's keep following these marks. So as you can see, this is the top one. It's not a north one, so it's not going to be that one. This is the north one, as you can see. It's the same markings. Got two across from each other. They're 90-degree ones. So we go in here. And here's the north one again, across from each other and 90-degree. You can use this to navigate the whole place, but that's what you want to do. So the gimmick with this is each time you go in a certain direction, the sequitors or whatever, they go in the other direction. So you have to find a path across it. You can't go on the same path as these guys, but you can just trial and error it. Anyway, once you do that, this once again is another north portal, so we're going to go through it. And then for this one, you don't need to check the patterns. You just go on the portal on the other side of these guards, which is another north portal. And we have reached the new room. You come in here, you pull this lever, and look, you get these sanctum purifiers. I think this is meant to like eliminate shadow creatures or something, because you know they don't like shadow creatures in here. Everything fights shadow creatures. And then you do the last portal that takes you north one more time, and you have entered a room where you have pulse cradles, an ancient tower, and something in the middle. Now, spoilers, this is what you have to do. You need to bring 4 spark arcs, 4 full spark arcs. Spark arcs you get from Wagstaff each time you kill you kill all of the mutated bosses, and then 1 for each one after that. So you need to bring 4 of them with you. Once you get the empty spark arc, you take it to the archives, you fill it with the light posts, with the light that comes from the light posts, and bam, you get these spark arcs. Anyway, so you transfer them all in. You do have to do all of them. And once you've done that, something spicy happens. Uh-oh. Ancient guard tower. Uh-oh! So you've got these guard towers. Now what are they going to do? For now, they just sit there. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it the correct way. So basically, as soon as you try to start solving this puzzle, these guys will attack you and aggro you, and they will try to fight you. Meaning, you do have to kill them eventually. So here's what their attack pattern is. They swing, and then they jump. And there's 4 of them, which makes them a little bit of a problem. These guys do have like good drops, or they will have in the future. So you do want to eventually kill them anyway, but if you didn't want to, or you wanted to delay killing them, you can equip a bone helmet, because nightmare creatures are aggressive to these guys. They will fight each other. So all the nightmare creatures that are going to be spawned from my bone helmet will attack these guys, and they will fight back. And eventually you'll get a lot of nightmare creatures by wearing the bone helmet for a long time. I can see after a while, all of your boys are attacking nightmare creatures, or almost all of them. So when they leap at you, just make them hit a nightmare creature, then the nightmare creature will hit them, and now they're all off of you. Excellent. So now they're all not attacking me, you can pull a lever to spawn a lustrous weevil. These things have 1,000 health, and once you kill them, these things do attack you, perish. Then you can right click and push them, and you want to hold down the right click to push them in the correct direction and land them in this thing. Once you've done one, you can then pull the lever to do the next one. So you could spawn all 4 of these at the same time, but there's really no need. It will just make it hard for yourself, because they will all try to attack you all the time. If you want to kite, it's like 3 or 4 attacks, and then you kite. And then you just keep pushing in the correct direction, and they'll go into the hole. So 3 hits, then dodge, I think. And the nightmare creatures are doing a real good job at keeping those things distracted. And by the way, if you, I'll show you what happens. If you take too long and you don't push them, they just come back with 750 health. That's all, so it's not a big deal. You just have to kill them again. And bam! You've activated all of them. And then you get this! The reliquary. And when you examine it, WX says, I claim it. So basically, I think you're meant to be able to pluck this out. But we can't right now. Oh no, that means we're stuck. But we're not. Because this keystone. So like, if you look at this, and then you look at that, like, they're the same thing. I think you're meant to be able to pluck this out of there. Now, I'll show you killing these guys as well. So eventually you're going to want to kill these guys because, like I said, they have good drops, although they will have good drops. And if you're fighting them melee, it's going to be a massive pain because you'll have to fight 4 of them at once. So you're probably just going to use Brightshade Staff plus Enlightened Crown. But, like, Brightshade Staff plus Enlightened Crown isn't, like, that bad. It's not that expensive because by this time, killing Scion to have all of this gear is, like, not too far off. And as you'll see, this storyline progresses towards the Shadow Finale. So you're probably going to be wanting to kill Celestial Champion and stuff before you do this for all of the gear. But as you can see, Brightshade Staff plus Enlightened Crown is pretty good. But Jakey, what can we do with this? Some very exciting things, actually. And once these guys hit, like, 3,000 health, they go into, like, seemingly a stunned state, so you can get a bunch of free damage. And then they just go straight to the jump attack, it seems. So they're a little bit more deadly once they pass half health. Oh, look, a spinny attack, oh my goodness. And they're all dead. Now, they drop Thorslite, Rocks, Moonstone, and Thorslite Fragments, but they also drop Orb Fragments. What do these Orb Fragments do? And they also drop the Beta Report, which is temporary, and Polished Orb Fragment Blueprint. So I think they drop 2 or 3 Orb Fragments each. So I got 9 those kills. Anyway, so these fragments themselves, they don't do anything, but if you learn this, then you can turn them into Polished Orb Fragments. These Polished Orb Fragments have 2 uses that I know of. First one is you can plug them into telelocator focuses to infinitely charge them. So if I just turn this on, you can socket them in and you can now teleport to this for free. So there you go, you can see it on the map. But second use is with Polished Fragments. If you have them in your inventory, you can right click to focus on, and so it actually won't, that's a bad example. It won't work here because you can't teleport back to this room. But if this is placed anywhere else, you can teleport to a telelocator focus with these plugged in. So we are done here. Now that you've got this, you would then pull this out, and that's what this is. And now on to the next thing. So let's go to the real atrium. Here we have arrived at the atrium. If I have a telelocator focus, and then for whatever reason, I'm at Ancient Guardian, I go, oh no, I want to teleport. I focus, and then you can see it on the map, and then you right click to teleport. And boom. And these don't get consumed. So they're just like there. But when you use it that way, the one you use to focus, that does get consumed. But otherwise, you can teleport to any telelocator focus with these things plugged in. And yeah, they're just infinite fuel for those things. Pretty cool, right? Anyway, on to the next thing. The next thing is Fuelweaver. So, you know how when you kill Fuelweaver and you give Charlie stuff? Oh, this is what the beta report said, by the way. You defeated all beta Ancient Guard towers, additional loot and rewards coming soon. So, they're not meant to drop these, but they'll drop something else later on. Anyway, that's all that is. You bring him back to life. This is just the normal fight. Then you kill him. Amazing. Then after you kill Fuelweaver, you get the Beckoning Hand, which you can give Dreadstone to. This turns on the Shadow Rifts in the caves, that's not new. That's the same. This is new though. You see that? The Ancient Key did not get consumed. Instead, it gets puked back out. This is intended, and it's just a kind of like quality of life, I mean. So now when you kill Ancient Guardian, he doesn't drop another key because this key already exists. So yeah, this key just gets puked back out. But what's this? Another Beckoning Hand? What does it want? Oh my goodness, it wants this. It wants the keystone. Now, remember what this looks like. Remember what that looks like. So we're going to offer it, and it says, the Shadow Queen is pleased with your progress. She will begin the final preparations and call upon you when the time is right. Be ready. PS, for now, this will only reset the sanctum. Continue. So I believe the sanctum is where we just came from. That's where we just got this key from in the archives. Remember that? Where the tower guards were? So that's what this now resets. So if I hit OK, there you go. That's all. Nothing happens for now. And nothing about this changes. But let me show you something that we discovered on stream. If I just skip ahead 10 days, I'm just skipping ahead so that the ancient gateway is no longer on cooldown. So you can, so if I wanted to, I can fight Fuelweaver again, right? Now, look what happens when I plug in the ancient key. What's that at the top? Now, for now, that looks like temporary art, like a squiggle, but that very much looks like the keystone. Wouldn't you agree? This looks very similar. It's the circle bit with the two blades on the outside. So this is temporary art for the keystone. Now, this isn't implemented because this is only part 1 of the Shadow Finale, right? So at which point, what happens now? You plug in the ancient key, but you plug in this key as well. So maybe you're fighting a possessed Fuelweaver, or a whole different enemy comes out of here. Because, spoilers, if I make Fuelweaver again, there's nothing different. It's just the same Fuelweaver fight. We tested, you can't give the possessed Shadow Heart to the Fuelweaver skeleton. Like, it just says absolutely not, as in you just can't do it. At this point, I think there will be an encounter, perhaps an enlightened ancient Fuelweaver, or something like that. But anyway, I think there will be a fight here, but that's not implemented yet, or we don't know what it is. But we know what happens next. Maybe we'll fight the ancient Moonweaver rather than Fuelweaver. So yeah, plugging that in. Wow, ancient key. Anyway, so what comes next is we know that there's basically someone said in chat that there's some in-game comments, right? There's some in-game comments to indicate that ancient Fuelweaver is now an ally. So I spawned the Stalker NPC. That is ancient Fuelweaver. This did not exist before. And if I just poke him real quick, 4,000 health ancient Fuelweaver. But when I examine him, he has seen the error of his ways and become my minion. What does this mean? I think whatever happens here, it results in us enslaving ancient Fuelweaver, or he switches sides. Or basically, a few of the characters have quotes to indicate that ancient Fuelweaver has switched sides, and he's now on our side to fight something, right? So I think, so whatever happens in this fight, we then enslave ancient Fuelweaver, or we change his mind, and then we're preparing for a final showdown between Shadow and Luna, or like them, right? But I don't know if this means you can have multiple ancient Fuelweavers, but yeah, as we can see, this didn't exist before. This guy appears when you spawn the ancient Fuelweaver's bones and the heart in the caves, but not the atrium. And this is the Stalk Forest. This is what happens when you spawn Fuelweaver on the surface. So that's surface, this one's caves, and that one's actual ancient Fuelweaver, but not actual ancient Fuelweaver. But what happens after that, Jakey? Well, we don't know. Yeah, we just kind of don't know. We don't know what's going to happen next. That's as far as this goes, as for, like, this. But there are implications here. Let me just pull up the... So if you look at this here, the roadmap art, you can see that the throne is empty with a withering rose, and Maxwell is letting a rose get blown away by the wind. Either Charlie dies or she gets dethroned in some way, because like she's not on the throne, it's empty, the rose is like dying or dead, and Maxwell looks like he's like allowing her to float away, right? People being blown away in the wind like that is you know, representation of them dying. So Charlie gets dethroned or lost. Winona looks worried, maybe she is lost, but anyway, whatever reason, Charlie gets dethroned. After we get the Fuelweaver fight, after we do this and spawn a Fuelweaver, there's going to be some big fight, probably back in the arena where we got that key. That arena we got the key, probably back there, because it looked quite arena-ish, and where you're going to have like a big amount of Shadow stuff and a big amount of Luna stuff. I think it'd be pretty cool if there's two just giant, like, not quite mechs, but two Jaegers, and you can't fight them directly because they're too strong, but you just help either the Shadow side or the Luna side, and then the result is whatever, Charlie gets dethroned, whatever. Anyway, but we really have reached the Shadow Finale. This is very interesting. So that's as far as this goes. Very cool finding. Thank you, Twitch chat, for telling me. I think I discovered this without anyone telling me, but the comments telling you that Fuelweaver is like your friend and ally now, that's pretty cool. And that's kind of it for the lore stuff. Now there's a few other updates. Let's see. So that's like the main Shadow Finale lore, part 1. There will be a part 2, but they said they're splitting it into 2 updates. Let me know your theories in the comments about what this fight's going to be, or if I've missed anything and there's more indications of what's to come. But this is super cool that you've got 2 atrium keys plugged in to like spawn a different fight, presumably. So the rifts are turned on, so everything in here is buffed a little bit, but it's the same kind of concept. So this biome isn't new, but and nor is any of the mechanics. The only thing that's new is the geothermites that spawn over time while you're in here. It's these guys. They spawn they will fight you and you're gonna fight them, and then they make dust which overheats you even more so. It just cranks your temperature all the way up. So now they have a new drop, which I think is about a 25% drop rate. So that's 10 geothermites. So now they drop these heat glands. So I killed 10 of them and got 3 heat glands. So I think 25-30% drop rate is probably about right. Anyway, so with these heat glands, there are new recipes. Let's go through them all, shall we? So first is the cooling balm. Requires you to be in an alchemy engine. With one of the heat glands they drop, a flint and 2 ashes, you make the cooling balm. Now, what does this do? So it says cooling balm, but when you apply it, it doesn't make you immune to overheating. But it does make you immune to fire damage. So if there's a firehound, or even, say, 10 firehounds, and they explode all over you, I do not take damage from the fire. I still take overheating damage, but I don't take fire damage. So you can kind of tell the flames have like a half opacity because of the cooling balm, and so I'm just immune from the fire damage. But as you can see, I'm still taking overheating damage. So that's what cooling balm does. Heals you for 20, makes you immune to fire damage, but not immune to overheating damage. I'm not sure how long it lasts, but it's probably like 2 minutes. But otherwise, heals for 20, and there's no healing over time. That's my bean booster healing me over time. Anyway, it's pretty cool, and we'll have some more uses later with the other new crafts. Let's go back to the surface. I don't like the caves. It's very spooky. So the next thing are the thermal tools. So now you can make... Oh my god, it's a gift. Oh, here we go. Epic merch time. Thanks, Slasher. Whoa! Always wanted myself a skirt. Nice. So now you can make these. Thermic axe, thermic pickaxe, thermic shovel, hammer, garden hoe. So these are very interesting tools. So first of all, they require heat glands. So 2 heat glands each, which means you're going to have to kill about 8 geothermites. So it's not super easy to get. 8 geothermites will take a while to spawn, and then you'll have to kill them. So like, it's kind of expensive, but tools are pretty cool. The main gimmick with them stays the same between tool types. So I'm just going to make the axe to show it. So when you craft it, you can see it's red hot. You see that? And then when I use it while it's red hot, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chops. And this is a 15 chop tree, and it'll take 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it chops 50% more efficiently when it is red hot. Now, that means it can indeed reduce its temperature. So the gimmick with these tools, again, like I said, all of them are the exact same. Their gimmicks are the exact same. The hotter they are, the more efficient they work. And you'll also notice that I did not lose any durability when I used them to chop. I didn't lose any durability. As you can see, the axe is now not glowing quite as bright red as it was, which means it's now going to work a little less efficiently. So now a 15 chop tree will take 13 chops rather than 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You can see it actually went to cool now. So now that it's completely cool, it will take 15 chops. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 chops. But it's not completely cool yet. So now it's completely cool. It's back to looking like a rock. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So now it's at normal efficiency. But now, this is where things get bad. Oh, there it goes. So you now have a broken thermic axe. So it's not actually broken, but once it gets too cool, it goes back to being stone. You can't equip it, and it loses 25% durability. So you can heat it up in any way, but like even just a furnace will do. So if I let these guys cool down for long enough, they would also break just like the broken thermic axe. And also right now, if you try to fight with them, it uses up 25% durability, like a ton of durability. That's probably not meant to be the case. So yeah, very much like a thermal stone, when these things cool down too much, they consume durability, but otherwise they don't consume durability. Once this thermic axe warms back up, I will be able to use it again. It also seems like I'm overheating really easily, so I'm thinking these things actually like produce heat. Like they get heated up and then they produce heat, because this furnace normally doesn't overheat you in autumn. But anyway, there it is. Thermal axe is back to being red hot, so it's chopping at maximum efficiency again, and it doesn't consume durability when using it. Yeah, so what this means is these tools are infinite, and they're efficient. They're as efficient as a pick/axe. So good, and they're infinite as long as you keep them warm. What this means is like well, yeah, you just have to keep them warm. So you have to use them and then put them back near a furnace or a fire or something like that. Pretty cool tools. They all do the exact same thing. They all just work efficiently, but ideally, if you take care of them, they just never break. So pretty cool tool. Next, we have the last craft, the last new craft. So we type in hot coals. With flint, niter, and heat glands are quite expensive, but hot coals in the weapon section. So I'm just gonna cheat. So you've now made yourself 4 hot coals. What do these do? Well, if you place them on the floor, no matter where you place them, the game will just auto put them in that tile. So 4 of them, say if I try to put them like right here, the game will put them in the top right corner, or that corner up there. So 4 coals per craft, and you need 4 coals to fill up a tile. But what do these things? What do these things do, Jakey? What do they do? Right now, nothing, because they're cold, so you can just pick them back up. But if you have something, for example, a furnace close by, and I'm just going to put some more coals. You can see these coals, they're getting a little bit hotter. You can see there's little fires happening. Now, the coals aren't actually being consumed, but when you stand on them, oh, it makes you take fire damage, which makes you start taking actual damage. That was 1.8 damage, but they're not at full temperature yet. There we go, now they're red hot. When they're red hot coals, you take more damage, from 1.8 to 3.5. And you can use the cooling bomb. That stops you from taking overheating damage. So bam. Sorry, it stops you from taking fire damage. So these hot coals are very similar to lava ponds. So you can now create like bright shade farms without using up your lava ponds at Dragonfly, because you can surround a plant with these hot coals to kill bright shades. So yeah, pretty cool. But if I grab this mob here, when mobs take fire damage, they panic. So you can see that frog panicked. See he's hopping around? They do a little bit of panicking, and they're taking the damage because he's trapping himself because he's a fool. So this is, Clay described these as a new trap, which is like, yeah, accurate, because it just makes things, panic when they're standing on them. But they do need to be constantly heated. They will not just get hot by themselves, except if it's summer. If it's summer, they will get hot by themselves because the ambient temperature of the world will just make them hot. I'm just placing a bunch of them around because I want to show you that the range the furnace has with these things. The furnace doesn't have a massive range for heat, but it's like enough. So there you go. You can kind of see the range that the furnace has. Like within, I can't place the coals right next to the furnace, but as you can see, 1 tile out and a half, it superheats everything within a 1.5 tile radius of the furnace. So that's 1, that's half. And then after that, it will only slightly heat everything outside of that. And then like these ones aren't being heated at all. So if you made a grid of furnaces, you could have a massive field of of these coals. Now, what's the implication here? Well, assuming that you're okay with taking the damage, if you get a hound attack, oh goodness, there's so many hounds, they'll panic on the coals because they take fire damage, of course. So you can imagine if you had a massive coal field, they would constantly be panicking, constantly taking damage, and more importantly, it doesn't set mobs on fire. Those seeds just got set on fire though. And so, oh yeah, that reminds me, if you leave raw food on the coals, it will slowly cook it, which is cool. But those toasted seeds, they just got set fire. So I think eventually they do set fire to some items, but they don't set mobs on fire. But anyway, Clay said this is a trap, and yeah, that's what it is. It's like a fire trap. So you could, with some fire farms, you could use coals instead of fire. So if you remember my bunny fire farm, instead of setting fire to mini signs, you could just lay hot coals on the floor, and it will slowly kill the bunnies. It will tick 3.5 damage every half second about. So they'll die a lot slower, but nothing will burn because of the hot coals. So this is pretty cool. It's pretty expensive though, but in the late game, you could like make a field of hot coals to just make a massive trap because it's funny. That if you just saw that just there, WX said something, and that was my cooling salve running out. Let me see, I took notes here. So you get 4 per craft, can be laid on the floor. Oh yeah, so if I switch to summer, so now the ambient temperature is quite high. You'll see that these coals these are neutral, and these are slightly warm. These ones are red hot. These ones that are neutral are now getting hot. So just the ambient temperature of summer is enough to just fully heat these coals. They will all turn red hot in a second if I give them enough time. So there we go. Summer can heat up the coals. There you go. They're getting red hot now. Excellent. So yeah, with summer, it does get hot enough to make them red hot naturally. So during summer, these are just like extra good because you don't need to give them a heat source. But during winter, well, basically every season that isn't summer, you need to give them a heat source because they won't naturally get hot. But yeah, pretty cool. But I think you'd have to, like, to make this effective, you'd have to mass craft these things, then have like a grid of at least 4 scaled furnaces heating up a field of coals to like protect yourself from hounds or whatever. I'm sure there's going to be some farm uses for these things. It'll be exciting to see what people come up with. Let me know if you've got any ideas on how to use these hot coals. They're pretty cool. And also, I did test, these coals do not attract the thermal missiles fired by Warbot, so you can't use these hot coals to just trigger or to bait the missiles into hitting, not you. It doesn't work. So you still have to use like star coolers and thermal stones, or use a method of making yourself cold. It looks like I can't teleport to the normal loaded one. With these things, I can only teleport to the one that is socketed with the gemstones. I mean the orb fragments. And it does consume it. So I can't teleport to these ones. But you can farm these orb fragments, because every time we plugged in the keystone, so every time you plug this into Ancient Fuelweaver's gateway, it resets the sanctum so that you can go kill those tower guards again to get more of these. So eventually, like, so that you can consume them and it's okay. Yeah. There'll be, the WX guide is like close to being done. It will be on the main channel within like a week or, yeah, a week about. Let me know if I missed anything in the comments. Let me know any theories you have, because yeah, this is the Shadow Finale Part 1. So I guess I'll go over the news post last. They're saying that WX Skill Spotlight took longer than they thought, so they're splitting the Shadow arc release into 2 parts. So they're doing the first update, then later on they'll do the second update. So us taking the keystone to the HG Gate will just reset the sanctum, but in the future, putting the keystone in is going to trigger some boss fight, right? But they're just not doing that yet. They're doing it in 2 parts, and this is only the first part. So we've gone through this: heat gland, thermic tools, coals, cooling balm, and then the loot drops from the new sanctum encounter in the first release is not finalized. We plan to tie those to portation orbs and have another unique loot drop instead. So the guards dropping the orb fragments isn't permanent. They're not meant to drop those. They're meant to drop something else, but they just didn't implement it yet. They also said we're experimenting with a new heat-based damage type tied to thermic tools. This isn't setting things on fire. So the thermic tools, right now, when you attack, they consume 25% durability, but it looks like they're going to have a heat-based damage applied to the tools. So there might be decent weapons as well. And I imagine this new heat-type damage will also apply to the coals, because that would make sense. Then they say there will be a new item that, when found, will reveal a direct path to the deepest room of the sanctum. We don't know what the deepest room is, but I presume it's where we just went to get to the tower guards. But again, use the wiki. The wiki, oh my goodness, it's so good. The wiki for the sanctum is really good, because it tells you which way to go, and then you just follow this map. You look at this map and decide where you want to go and follow the patterns, and it's really, really good to, really easy to navigate through once you have that. And then you can use a ramp to get, and we've done all this. Ooh, plant-like creatures will burn for longer and take more fire damage. Oh my goodness, buff. Nerf for Wormwood, unlucky. And there you go, that's everything. So thanks for watching. WX Guide soon, TM. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'm leaving now. Goodbye.